Hey guys, want to do a quick video here on money, love, speed, how to prioritize every car that comes in your shop. Here I want to talk to you guys about which cars come first and which cars come last. So the first car that comes into your shop that has to get in the bay immediately, this is the car that when this car comes in, this is, you stop everything, you get this car in. And that's the car that is brand new and not looked at yet. Once again, the car that just came in is the most important car in your shop. That's the car that you don't have anything approved on, inspected on it, and the customer hasn't been contacted. Generally, what you want to do is if it's a waiter, you want to get to them within 15 minutes, and if it's a drop-off, you want to call them back and contact them within 40 minutes. Again, 15 minutes when you go back and talk to the customer, meaning you got to have that car inside on the lift and looked at within 10 minutes, and then from the 10-minute mark to the 15-minute mark, you're able to go and build that estimate. Generally, it's one item and under $600-700 maximum. Again, and if it's an oil change, you keep it under $300. We do a safety inspection. This isn't a sales training video, but once again, you want to have videos, you want to have pictures, you want to show motor visuals, you want to do everything show and sell. Definitely for a customer that's in the shop, you want to take them physically, show them back there. Once again, 15 minutes for waiters and 40 minutes for drop-offs. That's a brand new car. That car is the priority. Nothing else is more important in your shop. The next type of car is the car that has been inspected and you already have the initial on. The initial might be the diag on an engine light, or it might just be the car came in for a brake noise and you were able to approve brakes on it. That's called the initial. That's the first thing we pitch. Again, that's the one item. Once you got that approved, then the next type of car is the one that you have got the initial on, but you don't have the additional isolation on. So a good example would be car came in for a coolant leak and you were able to find that the water pump was leaking. You went back to the customer, say, Mr. Customer, this water pump's leaking. It's going to be $589. That has been approved. Now that car is a priority. The car that has been isolated fully is not as important as a car that has not been isolated. So this is the car that you go back and check the coolant, check the hoses, check the thermostat, check the radiator, check the entire cooling system to make sure that when we do this water pump, the car has been fully repaired so they don't come back for more coolant problems in 2 months, because they're going to be upset if the customer comes back to you in 2 months with coolant issues when they paid you for coolant issues. They're going to be upset. So again, the new car is first, the one that hasn't been looked at. The next car is going to be the one that has the initial approved but does not have the full system isolation. That is your second most important car. The third most important car is the one that has been initially looked at, got the approval, got the isolation on, and it is the one that has not been PMI'd now. Now this is the car that you got the water pump looked at, it was approved by the customer, then you found out that the hoses were original, the coolant was filthy, and the thermostat was sticky and has been a change at 100,000 miles. And then you were able to get pictures of that, got it to the customer says go ahead and get it done. It's $489 for the additional items in order to make sure that the cooling system is now fully repaired. Now this car is when we tell the customer, hey, now we're going to do a full preventative maintenance inspection to make sure there's nothing else wrong with the whole car. So this is where you go in and you say, hey, I'm going to go look at the whole car, and now you're checking brakes, you're checking suspension, you're checking the rest of the engine bay, you're checking rear cross member, whatever it takes to go over the whole car to make sure there's nothing that's going to make the customer break down on the side of the road. So this is your third most important type of car. The first one is, again, getting the initial car that just came in, hasn't been looked at. Getting that in right away is crucial. And then you want to get into the isolation. So it's 15 minutes for waiters on the first important car, or 40 minutes for drop-offs. And then once you get that, there's usually about an hour gap before you're able to do a full system isolation. And then now, when you get that full system isolation, you go into the PMI, which is going to be another hour. So the total time is roughly 3 hours from the time the customer dropped off the car to when you got the first phone call in 40 minutes, the second phone call within an hour, and the third phone call within an hour after that. That's generally the rule. And in 3 hours, you've been able to initial isolation and PMI the car, and that is your third most important car, and it's very important if you want to have the car fully looked at and inspected. The fourth, fifth, and sixth most important cars are pretty much in order of what the customer has been promised, or when they said they need the car, and these are the cars that have already had the initial sold, the isolation sold, and the PMI sold, and now it's the cars that are waiting on parts. The parts are here, or the cars are done. And again, if it's a car that parts are here but it doesn't have to go today, that car may not be the more important car, even though the parts are here for it. Because there might be another car that the parts are not here that does have to go today, and that car would be up on the queue that needs to get inside the shop and start working on, because that customer needs that car and the parts are on the way. So you should start fixing that car first, and then as the parts arrive, you're able to finish that car way faster, if that makes sense. So it doesn't mean the parts are here that you just start working on it. No, you have to focus on the cars that the customers need done today that you want to start working on. Once again, you do not start working on cars until they are initial, isolated, and PMI'd. You don't just sell the initial and start taking things apart. Please don't do that. Get the car in, get the initial approved, get the isolation approved, get the PMI approved, get it all approved, get the parts coming, and now we can dispatch the work to the production guys that can get the work done. Guys, once again, if you understand these subjects, you will be fast because you won't have ambiguity, meaning confusion, on what car comes first, second, and third, and you're able to run a fast shop that can prioritize production and sales simultaneously. Money loves speed, and the only way you can have speed is if you know what's next every single time without thinking about it. Knowing your priorities on cars.